Cool, great. Sanele Ngubane of Samish. And basically, I'm just going to be taking you through the things that I love about radio. I'm just a disclaimer. I am no expert on radio. Radio is a huge medium that requires different expertise for different things. So I'm just going to take you through what I know. So radio is a powerful medium. We all know this. Like, you know, it cuts through. You can communicate to anyone in any language. It's democratic. It's probably the most far-reaching kind of medium we have in South Africa or the world. Still is. And then Wayne just slightly said, I'm gonna kind of talk about how to win at CAN. I don't know how to win at CAN. It's almost impossible to win anything at CAN. But I love using CAN as a barometer for what I love doing, which is African language stations, like writing radio in African languages. So I use this interesting stat, which was shared to me when I was very young. 4,000 radio ads get entered into CAN. So if you think of a typical ALS radio stations, how many messages are out there in the form of radio, in the form of activation, in the form of live reads and whatever, it's a lot, right? And out of that 4,000 that get entered, 996 make it through the first round. So that's already like more than, if people are good at math, 300% that gets cut off. And then out of that 996, 100 will then become finalists, which just means you made like finalists. And then 20 will get awarded maybe a bronze. 20 will kind of get considered again. So if you look in the context of African language stations, like out of 4,000 messages, you kind of have 20 that we can kind of recall. And out of the 29 really want us to do something about it. We'll kind of come back to it and check to see what was it about. For just like what we remember, we might act on. And then finally that one that kind of wins the Grand Prix or the gold at the end. So it takes a lot to put into radio if you're going to be just approaching radio as like, I'm going to feed the medium with media money and then see what comes out of that. I love that stat. So number 2 for me, the best work effortlessly floats to the top, as in CAN, so is in life. Like, you know, if you craft your work, if you work on your radio and if you work on your idea, it's always gonna stand out because again, the medium is just being used as an ugly duckling in a way. Number 3, South Africa is expected to dominate. This is in the context of overseas, the overseas landscape. South Africa is expected to dominate. Like, you know, we've got people who've done really well in radio in South Africa in the past, and we're expected to do very well. I'm gonna play you an example of stuff that dominates. So, for instance, all of us creatives kind of wait for the next kind of Ogilvy ad, I guess. And this was the ad last year.
Mr. Radebe, huh? You made trouble for yourself in the bathroom here today, Mr. Radebe, when you ripped off my antennae and crushed my abdomen with rolled up toilet paper. Because I'm a fish moth. Fine. But you didn't kill me. So now I will eat all of your joy. Your finest formal suit with a pocket stuffed with pamphlets from weddings and funerals. I'm dearly departing it. The only top to get you a compliment from Hot Cindy, I'm wearing it in my belly. I'm gonna eat up your name on your unabridged marriage certificates. All your certificates. Home affairs cues are the best, aren't they? You're gonna love them. Going nowhere in the only shirt I will not touch. The free promotional network provider shirt from that weekend conference in Limpopo. Think of me when you're wearing it. Yeah, I'm the one that ate the logos off of everything, that gave you nothing but crop tops and lacy underwear, and so many holy sheets! You will not forget the fish moth that got away, Mr. Radebe, and how you should have used fast deadly doom, because now, welcome to Hoboland, my friend.
So for the point, there is like local is buyer lekker overseas though. So we get a lot of love as far as like crafting our ideas, as far as like an idea that stands out. You find that you'll get a lot of love overseas than you'll get in our own kind of environment, in our own stations with our own clients even. I know there's some clients here, but I'll explain why. So this is the radio ad that won gold. It's a Zulu radio ad.
Awuthiyam, isikhathi samaholide, isikhathi sokuyophola elokishini. Shaya imoto siye empangeni.
Esikhathi uphola mahala.
Umbhede wawulala wona usemncane usekhona.
Umbhede wempahla mahala nana.
Uzoshawa umoya phakathi kwemephe yomchamo.
We mahala.
Kumnandi makhona wena siyafa insini.
Sineka mahala.
Okusho ukuthi igame yakho kuyothenga igrosa yendlu.
Usiphathele fashion mahala.
Kusasa sibhejwa impahla ngoba sisuthi igrosa yakho. Sicela impahla zokugqoka.
Sicela ukismos mahala.
Uphathele nomzala wakho umsebenzi njengoba usaphumile. Khuluma nabelungu bakho.
Ungakhohlwa ufunde mahala.
Ngemali yethu.
Wafela umatikuletsheni kabili mahala.
Yini ehlula into yamahhala? Indawo yokuhlala nombhedo ongenamephe eqala ku-680 ngobusuku. eTown Lodge. Kunemibandela.
So we have lots of stories. For us, black text might be something that's familiar, like, but, when you take it to a different environment, when you play it for a different audience, suddenly it's interesting. Suddenly it's people want to know more and what have you. And it doesn't matter that the ad is written in Zulu. Like, we've got subtitles these days. We've got digital support. So in South Africa, we still have what I call radio apartheid. Why I call this radio apartheid is because a Tswana radio ad has to play on a Tswana radio station. A Zulu radio ad has to play on a Zulu radio station, and so on. Like, you can't mix it up. And because of this, then there's no like chance for collaboration. Like, there's no chance to use two languages to speak the way South Africans actually speak. Nobody really speaks one language throughout the day, like, in South Africa. So radio apartheid is still alive. Zulu radio cannot mix with English and Afrikaans. But we are really trying to experiment in this space a lot, especially this year and in the coming years with radio, how to use radio. Basically, the formats that you just saw now that I played you Town Lodge on is a format now that we're selling to clients. We know that South Africa is a data kind of sensitive country. So it's great that radio can live on digital without visuals, which means less data, which means we can get our message across. So things like that are really opportunities that we are looking at for radio, to growing radio outside of radio. So this is an example of how two languages can live in one kind of radio spot. So this is an ad for June 16. The guy is obviously complaining about using Afrikaans to learn in school. The irony is that he's using a language called Tsotikans, which is like a slang, which is like every second word is like Afrikaans.
Maramapuna esitotu ne? Yeah, as far. Enhla kulento yokuthi kwakumele gelezo ngesipunu yayidomo man. Yes, bebesilehe man. Babesokolisa ba. Yangifrustani. Cabanga imethi ngesipunu. Umeneri wayexula nje mara kungangeni foko. Divers niyavari man. Cabanga so fries escape ngesipunu. Yeah. Lento vele yayikhawatile eva majita sekasi. Lenesikela bebastrapa goed. Umusalele muntu. Yikho nje ngifuna ukuthi kuwonke lamasotsha 76 athi tag ngesipunu sabo. Thank you Magrotman. Sanele, if you black, you get it.
So it's a really old ad, but it's still relevant with like languages. So for us, the birth of one language does not mean the death of another. Like, so I read a beautiful article that says English is actually the medium that we should be using to teach people about African languages, because everyone speaks English. So it doesn't mean dismissing English or Afrikaans, but it means just the languages working better together and creating an environment where that can happen. The radio stations, as I've mentioned, are not currently doing that yet. So show you another example of what I mean with this new format that we kind of stumbled upon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shosholoza sang in the key of autocorrect.
Shoulder order. Shoulder order.
Where's your balaclava?
Where's your balaclava?
Oh yeah,
Simulate quick sense of that. Shoulder order. Shoulder order. Oh yeah. It's a consciously South Africa.
shoulder order.
Shoulder order.
Oh yeah,
Simulate quick sense
South Africa.
It's time to decolonize autocorrect. Go to savannahcider.com/decolonize and set your phone free. Savannah, the crisp, unapologetic cider. Not for persons under the age of 18.
So that allows us to then obviously go into the phone and you can download your own kind of language settings, which will then decolonize your phone and not respell everything every time you type African languages. It's a very simple idea, but what we like about what I wanted to show you there is an example of how English is not dismissed. It's like it's part of the communication in getting our message across. So pick a cause and stick to it. Why I say that radio takes a long time to do. It doesn't take that one studio visit and coming back. So you actually have to pick something that you really believe in and stick to it, because it's gonna get tough. It's gonna become hard. And then a song is not an idea. I've shown you a lot of songs, but for me, a song is the medium. Radio is about music, so it can't just be your idea. There has to be something that goes with the song, something that supports that, an idea that supports that. And I'm gonna show you an example of what I think someone who did it really nicely. It's an international example.
Every day, legal immigrants living in isolated communities along the U.S. southern border suffer civil rights violations that infringe the law.
Muchas veces las propias leyes discriminan al ver a una persona latina, hispana.
Vulnerable and often uneducated, these immigrants don't know the law or their rights, making them easy prey for a system caught between zero tolerance and a huge influx of illegal immigration. The only way to reach immigrants living in remote and underdeveloped stretches of the desert? Good old-fashioned radio.
Here's Immigrant Songs by Southern Poverty Law Center and Bravo Mike Radio Network.
For the first time, lawyers and musicians got together to translate complex immigration laws into easy-to-understand legal advice, which was embedded into the lyrics of corridos, the folk song genre that talks about real-life struggle along the border.
Con música, los inmigrantes están aprendiendo sobre sus derechos en este país.
Radio waves crisscross the southern border to reach 8.5 million immigrants, and our legal corridos spread like wildfire.
Eso de que necesitan una orden y todo eso, pues no lo sabía y ahora ya estoy más enterado del tema.
Instruyéndonos cómo saber comportarnos en cierta ocasión o cierta situación donde sintamos que nos están perjudicando.
Immigrant songs, taking legal advice to places where no immigration lawyer has ever set foot.
I think that example just shows the power of radio and how far radio can reach. And then just to go into what's out, I think Jenny Glover imitations are out of fashion. If you guys don't know who Jenny Glover is, she's probably one of the best radio writers in South Africa has ever seen. What that created with her winning so much at Cannes and all these big shows is that a lot of people started writing in that style. It's quite a Eurocentric style of writing, I feel. So this is an example of what I think is out.
This is the story of a beautiful swan who lived on a lake with a lot of other beautiful swans.
Darling, you look gorgeous.
One day, they all flew away, leaving the beautiful swan alone to mope about a bit, before he noticed his reflection in the water and realized he was actually a very ugly duckling.
I'm hideous.
Then the other ducks, animals, and assorted wildfowl abused him about his looks mercilessly. Then he turned into an egg.
Things can end badly backwards. That's why the Vauxhall Astra Ultimate comes with reverse camera as standard. Vauxhall, British brand since 1903.
Same point is, as much as a song is not an idea, like a style of writing is not an idea, like using like a fairy tale or whatever, like that is not an idea. You still need an idea behind it. So creativity does work, but then there is creativity for just creativity's sake, which will still not cut through. And then I just want to move into audio's love affair with technology, which is where I think is where radio is going. And we all know this is an example of what got Grand Prix last year at Cannes. What I love about this is that it integrates everything from voice technology to an actual show that was on TV to radio and how they showed that. And the format is no longer like a 30-second radio ad. It kind of becomes a bit more.
As the second season of Westworld came to an end, HBO wanted to give fans a reason to talk about the show even when it wasn't on air. So we created The Maze, a fully immersive Amazon Alexa voice game that allowed fans to navigate Westworld using only their voice.
Alexa, open Westworld.
You're new. Not much of a ride on you.
Not that one, Clem. They're here for something else. You must be here to play the game.
With 36 voice actors, 11,000 lines of script, 60 player-generated paths, 32 ways to die, and 2 hours of unique gameplay, The Maze is the most ambitious and immersive voice game created to date. It was produced with the show's creators and talent Jeffrey Wright and Angela Serafian. In the first week, over 10,000 fans tried to solve The Maze, and the game generated over 500 million earned media impressions, thanks to Easter eggs hidden in the game just for press.
Never had the pleasure of meeting Patrick, but I love his articles on CNET.
The Maze pushes the boundaries for voice device content, bridging the gap between new technology and the oldest form of storytelling. To play and explore Westworld for yourself, simply say, Alexa, open Westworld.
I love how that's radio that finds you on like Alexa. I know it could easily do the same thing for Siri. I love like it's playing with the device that's mostly in your hand, but it's still radio, using all the principles of radio, using theater of the mind, and using storytelling very well. And then this is just an example of how changing something small, like still has such a big impact. I'm just gonna let this play itself out. Quite powerful.
Although I have typically female biological sex characteristics, my gender identity is non-binary. I am not a man or a woman. This bill is a victory and an important step towards equality.
Alexa, what's in the news today?
California begins issuing state IDs with a third gender
Colorado
option.
becomes fifth state to allow third gender on licenses.
Germans can now choose third gender option on legal records.
California becomes fifth state to allow third gender on licenses.
into different types of research that tells them people expect a female voice. Sometimes we go back to these stereotypes, and what happens is we're reinforcing them. We're not changing them. There's no reason we can't have more options.
Audio researchers defined a frequency range which is neutral. We recorded several voices, worked on the pitch, we worked on the formant filter, and we worked on the tone of the voice. We tested several different voices on thousands of people to create a gender-neutral voice.
Yeah, society always wants to put you in a box.
I hope that people would not assume gender based on voices more in the future.
My voice is more than a pre-assigned gender.
My voice is more than a box to click.
My voice is more than this
or that. It's everything in between.
It's a voice of progression.
A voice of hope.
A voice that moves us forward when others are looking back.
Have you ever wondered what a genderless voice sounds like?
A more inclusive voice
to fight
option.
bias against smart assistants.
Will help for you to
Here is what it sounds like.
Hi, I'm Q.
I mean, what they did was very small, but you can see the PR around that. You can see like the talkability that's around that, breaking like common stereotypes, very relevant in South Africa as well as for my journey as I embark into like African languages and seeing what we can do with that. And then great radio is because is an idea plus craft. This is a beautiful campaign that was allegedly created by AI, but what I feel happened is that AI started and then craft, they realized that they still needed to craft. So I love showing this as an example of craft.
This ad was created by artificial intelligence.
Hello, friend 2. You are human. You are friend.
I don't know you, friend 1. You only live inside radio commercial.
Become friend. Allow access these chicken fries from Burger King to your mouth gate.
Eat, eat, eat. Wow, we are chicken persons now, aren't we?
Affirmatively correct.
Why is Creepy King staring at chicken persons?
He is creepy. He lives inside radio commercial also.
Burger Kingdom is radio commercial for friendship.
Burger King, home of the chicken persons.
And then my last point really is the future of radio is not 30-second spot thinking. And I want to show you the last thing. This is, I think it was gold as well. But what I love about it is that there's no radio ad inside. They basically entered this board. And how it works, Skittles commercial, the Broadway musical. So we know there's the Super Bowl and everyone tries to get onto the Super Bowl on TV. What they did was a Broadway musical show that got more news than the actual Super Bowl on the day. And basically the Broadway musical was all about advertising and advertising on Broadway, which is great. What I love about this is that radio kind of disappeared into the idea, like, you still need all the radio principles, you still need the production, you still need the music, you still need the theater of the mind. They actually sold musical tickets. You could buy a ticket to go watch the musical. So sound and audio played a very big role in it. But yet the entry board was just a board that showed you so many other things and how they actually just used everything to come together. So I mean, where do you enter this in the end? Which is what I love about it. It doesn't belong anywhere, yet it belongs everywhere. And that's me.
Awesome, Sanele. That was fascinating, and we got some really. Can everybody hear me?
Sorry, I had a music. Trying to unshare.
Everyone who needs to share next should be able to do that without a problem now.
Okay, I just want to take some Q&As for Sanele.
Okay.
Some amazing comments during your session. People telling us we love the local flavor, and your award-winning ads are seriously spectacular. Sanele, we've got a couple of questions I'm going to pose to you. One of them is, are creatives given enough time to innovate when writing for radio? Or is it perceived as lastminute.com requests?
Beautiful question. And I think Louis can support me on this. Radio is seen as like the last thing. Like, you know, it's seen as this is where we're gonna put all our information. If I wanna make a great TV ad, then I'm gonna tell client, no, but we'll just put that information on radio. We'll put the downstream on radio, and like that's not what radio is for. Radio is for storytelling at its core. Like, you know, and you're competing against music. So yeah, for me at the moment, it's not seen as something that can lead a campaign anymore. I don't know why. I think part of that reason for me is the radio apartheid. Like that I'm so limited. I have to, if I'm doing this in Tswana now, I have to do it in all languages, and that can end up being quite costly as well.
Thank you. A lot of your examples you played are longer than 30 seconds. Can you talk to why time is important, and is it a requirement for an effective radio ad?
So I had an interactive thing. I was hoping you could see some of the panel members. So I was going to ask them a question, and then I was going to play a song, and then I was going to ask them if they remember the question. Like, you know, and so yeah, like, I mean, 30 seconds because you have more time to tell your story, basically. More than 30 seconds because you have more time to tell your story. But more importantly, like, why it doesn't really work in 30 seconds is because radio requires you to kind of use theater of the mind. So without putting an idea in there, you probably still have your client information that you're still gonna get in there. But if you're gonna use theater of the mind, then you're probably not gonna come in less than 45 seconds. Like, you know, so with telling the story, setting up what your story is, and all of that. So yeah, for 30-second radios should be dead. Should have died a long time ago. I don't know why we still have it. I think there's media people here that can answer that. like
they'll say cost.
Yes, yes, cost. Agreed. But what's the cost of actually throwing away your money to on 30-second radio ads and nobody's listening to? Oh, yeah, we got Nets is ready. Great. Yeah, are those my questions? I think you're just throwing away your money with 30 seconds.
Okay. One last question. What do you think it would take for radio script writing to be exciting on a day-to-day basis and not just for awards? What advice would you give our clients that are listening and our media people when dealing with their creative agencies or experts?
That's an interesting question. What will it take? I guess the same. So come again. So what will it take?
So what do you think is needed for creatives to be given the leeway to write more exciting script writing? Not just from a day-to-day basis, but not just when we're writing for awards.
Yeah, very, very good question. Time. Like, unfortunately, we're up against time, and we know we gotta be responsible. There's client money at play, so you're almost struggling the time and client money. So there's something that happens if you make it a rule that you're gonna go back into studio more than once when you're working on the really big campaigns, like big radio campaigns. Go back to studio more than once. It always makes it different. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, because your ear can pick up things and it can adjust and it knows what to fix, but only afterwards. So it's really important to have like in TV, for instance, we have pre-prods. I'm not saying TV is the greatest kind of medium and we make our best work there, but at least there's a pre-prod. There's a planning that goes beforehand. In radio, you walk in there, the actual talent has a script in their hands. Because there's other things that they need to do with that script. But like on TV, the talent walks in without a script. You know, they walk in with the character inside them. So you need that time for everyone to digest what's happening, for everyone to kind of get involved with the production so that we can all move forward. Like, you know, so go back more than once would be my answer.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.